Hello, and look who I have because we have a significant injury and it's to a significant player, the captain, Mark Stone. Yesterday, pretty rough collision. By the way, I'll stop everyone in the first place. Both players are entitled to the ice. It's not interference. It's not a trip. It's not roughing. It's not even a penalty. The referee was looking directly at it. There's really not a lot you can do. It's just two guys skating really hard. It's a fast sport. They bang into each other. Stone goes down, then comes off. We see him on the bench kind of grimacing a little bit. And then we get news that he's now out, quote, a while from Kelly McCrimmon on a recent podcast. And we don't know much beyond that. So what was your first thought? I can guess what your first thought was, but what was your first thought when you saw it yesterday?
Shoot, man, I was just like, I hope we're not right about his back, about this being a recurrent injury, about a recurrence of where it was, or the next level above or below. Yeah, like so many things went like, oh shoot, he tweaked his back while he twisted and fell in the air.
Yes. So the good news here is that I can confirm through multiple sources it is not his back. So that leads us to, okay, it's something different. It's something new. I guess not necessarily new. I don't know that for sure. But what if it's not his back? Like, what else do you think could have potentially happened on that type of a collision?
I looked down and tried. He didn't hit his legs hard. He didn't look labored skating. I mean, anytime a guy falls and bangs into their elbow hard, I start to think, okay, could you get a little quick subluxation moment in the shoulder? Could you sprain your AC joint? Could it be any number of those like upper arm parts? But I mean, as he skated around, he didn't look to to cradle anything necessarily
Yeah.
as he got off the ice.
And a lot of that stuff, like any sort of shoulder and that type of thing, like usually, like you said, they'll be holding it, there'll be something like that. He was kind of hunched over. I feel like there's something in the hunched over and the out a while thing. Like, I don't know. To me, like that, it doesn't seem like it's contusion or something like that, right?
No, I mean, if your arm hurts, you don't cradle, you don't grimace. Like these guys have hurt their arms so many times. They've hurt their legs so many times. It started taking me down a weird road, thinking like, why is he doubled over? Is it again the back? You're telling me no, because the
Ah,
back can cause some referring pain almost in that midsection. And then you start thinking like, how hard was this hit? It's like did they collide so hard? Could he have broken a rib? Does he have could he have collapsed his lung? Could something, if you break a rib, collapse the lung? Now you're labored. Now you're feeling gross on the sideline, and then you're all of a sudden gone off the bench. We ironically, it's been like a week. I was telling a story while we were operating about we had a journal club, which is in orthopedics where everybody reads articles and you have to present an article and you get made fun of by everybody in the group while you spill through your article and they tell you why you're stupid.
I know
And
that
it's
feeling.
just, it's fantastic. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody, no matter what your job, you should have an event like
Every
that.
article I write, I get that. Yeah, go ahead.
And so we joked in this moment, like in the operating room, we were just recently talking about it. This one of the guys presenting the story was talking about like chest and abdomen and rib and other injuries. And he brought up his own personal story. He goes, guys, let me tell you about a story that happened to me. I was a soccer player and I got kicked in the chest. And I have never felt this much pain. And he goes down this story, and the whole time everybody's making fun of him, like, what happened to you? And the guy goes to the hospital because of this pain. He had ruptured his jejunum, which is like part of your entire digestive system. And he took a foot to the chest and ruptured part of his digestive tract. And everyone's like, what? And ironically, I was telling this story just this past week, and then I see him doubled over, and I'm like, what if he's got a weird one? You know, what if it's not a rib? What if it's not an anything else like musculoskeletal? What if it's internal? If it's not the back, what else we got?
And what, like, first of all, I've never heard the word jejunum, but what
That was
else, like, what else are we talking about? Like,
Once you start getting inside, like, I mean, you got your chest that protects some of the big stuff. You got your chest that protects your heart, your lungs. Below that, you got your stomach, you got your small intestine, you got your large intestine. That's where your jejunum comes in into that system. On the opposite side of your body, you got your liver. Could you get a contusion of your liver or a liver laceration? We see that in people with that have like seatbelt injuries that abruptly stop, or collision athletes can injure their stomach, they can injure their kidney, they can injure their spleen, and these different organs can be injured, which is, it opens up a whole new, not orthopedic realm of injuries. But honestly, like, I mean, if you want to talk about a liver or a spleen, those are organs that are important, that are somewhere between your hip and your shoulder joints, and that's, I'm very helpful when it comes to that.
Well, and he's doubled over and then
Yeah.
gone, and then it's immediately out a while. Like typically when it's out a while, and we only have 3 words. Is that three? Is a while 2 words?
Wow.
Yeah, it's either 2 or 3 words, depending if the A is connected to the while or not. But when we get that, typically we have information. They have information of like, well, we had to do X procedure, Y procedure, whatever. Like why I'm completely out of here. Like, what is the procedure on a spleen or a kidney or a liver? Like, we talk in years, or like what are we looking at?
Yeah, so if we get into these soft tissues, there's grading systems for like liver lacerations, for spleen lacerations, and each of these organs has like these dense tissues around them, and they have the internal meaty parts. And if you bruise it, or if you cut it, or if you like explode it, there's grading systems. So the first thing that happens is, of course, that person's got to show signs that like something internally is messed up. And I mean, when you see him grimacing and he's holding down low, it's like, all right, what's going on? This is unusual. Get this guy to the hospital, because your way to image those is with usually like a CT scan, and they're looking for bleeding. They're looking for, is a normal shaped organ showing signs of like a herniation or a balloon, because something inside is damaged. And they can do some of those studies with contrast, where they're looking for leaking contrast, or they can do them normal. They usually don't get an MRI of your chest or your belly, but that'd be how you check it out. And you'd try to determine, especially when an athlete's strong and used to having injuries, but they just like crank over and you can tell there's something wrong. That's one of your fastest tests, is a CT scan, to kind of just quick browse and say, is there anything internally bad?
That is all very, very scary stuff. I mean, like, we went down an interesting path there. I appreciate all of that. Like, is there anything else that could potentially, like, you got any other out off the wall ideas, or we good there?
I mean, nothing that hits home. I mean, you
Yeah.
can have any number. Like, maybe he just got unlucky and he's got appendicitis, like right while he's in the middle of a game, and the hit has nothing to do with it, and he just randomly gets this gallbladder infection or appendix problem. Like, those are all things you worry when a guy grabs and
Yeah.
leans. All that internal stuff, not so much. I mean, you can get other weird ones. You can rupture a big vessel. You can damage some of your internal organs, like a bladder, I mean, there's a
I
lot of
don't like
things.
any of this. I don't like
No.
any of it. I really don't. One thing I will say is that if you have any of this sort of pain, or more likely orthopedic pain would probably be better to call you.
Right.
Where should they contact, or how should they contact you? I know where.
Right. Crovetti Orthopaedics. You can go to CrovettiOrtho.com. You can request an appointment right in there. We do not specialize in abdominal trauma, or and we've got a great team of people that specialized in your shoulders and your hips and your knees and your ankles, and we'd love to be a part of helping you get back into your game.
What about my terrible golf game? Can you fix that?
I can go with you, and I'd be
Cool.
very happy to try to help you. I'm not confident we'll make any progress together, but I'm very willing.
We're doing it. Let's do it. Thanks again. You're the best. We're hitting the links next week at some point. I don't know, but thanks again.
All right,
you're the
let's
best.
do it. Thanks, Kim.